So we just had a bunch of announcements from the UFC as a result of the JDM win, and I get that a lot of people are happy that Islam will be fighting him and Topuria will be fighting Charles for the lightweight title, but I feel like the UFC just made two massive mistakes when it comes to the lightweight and welterweight divisions. Why on earth has Islam had to vacate the belt, and how on earth does Charles Oliveira deserve a title shot? So let's start with Charles. I'm sure I'm going to annoy a few fanboys out there, but can someone explain to me how beating glorified journeyman Michael Chandler earns him a title shot? By this logic, Paddy should be in there. Do people not realise the man hasn't been champ for 2.5 years now and has lost to both Islam and Sarukian? I know he's a lightweight GOAT, but in my opinion, there is only one man to fight Topuria. Yes, Arman is an entitled rich boy who has been talking recklessly about the UFC recently.
Не, UFC наоборот меня позлило, что такого соперника дало. Это для них, как бы, можно сказать, неуважение в мою сторону, да? Как бы, почему они так себя повели, что давали мне такого соперника, я достоин большего, я номер один.
But, hear me out, since their ill-fated rematch at UFC 311, Arman has arguably been the most competitive matchup for Islam and a solid lightweight win for his legacy. Obviously, the UFC had to punish Arman for shitting the bed and pulling out with less than 24 hours notice because of a back injury, which was more likely about missing weight, but needs must. And we need a competitive title fight, so Oliveira must be lower down on the pecking order than Arman. I just showed a brief clip, but Arman has been shitting on offers from the UFC publicly, which I'm sure pissed them off even more.
Предлагали того, с кем я не хотел драться, то есть ниже рейтингом. И я не видел смысла с ним драться только из-за денег. В ММА смысла нет у меня драться. Мне надо драться минимум из топ-5-6, чтобы выиграть и сказать, что да, гарантированно я буду драться за титул. Просто так драться смысл. Я номер один, и давать кому-то подарок, чтобы с номером 10 драться. Ну, то есть мне никто такой подарок не давал, когда я был топ-10. То есть я просто так свое место не хочу отдавать.
That shouldn't mean we all have to sit through Saruki and Gamrot too, though, which, let's be honest, absolutely nobody is fucking interested in. Arman is the clear title contender, and the UFC need to put their feelings aside for this one. Let's also not forget that Charles pulled out of his own rematch with Islam. You can't claim Oliveira is a Pereira-like card saver because he's not been active since his loss. The geezer's been more active in fucking harness racing than fighting.
And is Tim Tetrick maintaining the lead here? Going to try to go wire to wire with the UFC lightweight champion in close attendance. Charles Oliveira will bide his time.
No offense, but I think his best days are behind him. He's still a solid lightweight, but his recent activity doesn't warrant this title shot by any means. On to my second issue. Why has Islam vacated the belt?
For the vacant lightweight title.
It's pretty obvious that the UFC have stripped him because a few days ago he was literally saying that he didn't want to vacate the belt to move up and that he wanted to come back down and defend against the interim. Ali Abdelaziz has so far done 3 interviews talking all about Islam vacating the belt, but still hasn't given a proper reason or breakdown on what actually happened.
If Bilal were to win, Islam were going to fight Ilya for the 155 title.
Right, so he could still make weight and wanted to fight Topuria. Carry on.
And if Islam going to go up, he's still the champion at 155 pounds.
Except he's not. He would have been if it was an interim.
But, the Islam is going to go up and come back down. Maybe yes, maybe no, but,
If he loses to JDM, he is 100% coming back down to lightweight.
UFC said, let's not hold the divisions. They need the main event, international fight week.
Right, so this is about as close as we're going to get to an actual explanation. But it just seems like they needed a big fight for international fight week and felt that an interim wouldn't cut it.
And give the opportunity to other guys to fight for the title. It's okay, it's no problem. But we all going to still look at Islam. He's the lightweight champion of the world. And when he beat Jack Mandalena, he's going to have 2 belts on his shoulder and he's going to be a double champion.
They gave Volk 2 shots, losing twice without having to vacate. To me, it seems pretty obvious that the UFC told Makhachev that he couldn't keep the belt because they needed it for International Fight Week. Islam has said multiple times he will fight anyone, so I don't think he's ducking Topuria. I mean, he fought mediocre Moicano for fuck's sake. When it comes to the lightweight title, we better hope that Ilia Topuria beats Oliveira. I just feel that Arman versus Topuria with Islam waiting in the background to come back and unify the titles would have given us a great story storyline for the rest of the year and guaranteed us a second super fight for Islam, regardless of the result with JDM. If JDM and Charles win, do we really want to see champion Charles Oliveira defend against a beltless Islam? It's like going back in time. For now, we could be thankful that Arman has been given the Makhachev treatment, but I do wish they wouldn't keep letting emotions get in the way of making the right decisions. Hint, hint. Am I off on all of this? Let me know your thoughts in the comments and hit like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Cheers.